Okay. Dude, I was trying to hurry. Okay. Okay, let me hop on and hold on, Bobby. Let me let Jena and Jules know. Jena. A lot's all breaking up. They should be on it any minute. It's barely 8. It keeps losing my. But I just wanted, number one, to thank everybody that has been a part of Behind Bars, because in the 505, um, we've had a lot of people joining, and this space is for you guys to know that it's okay, to come for whatever it is, if it's good, bad, whatever. We're here to support you. We look forward to each of our podcasts and each of our guests. I feel like all of our stories are important. Last week was phenomenal because actually it was Monday. It wasn't even last week because Wendy disclosed some crazy things. And I think, it's important for us to support each other no matter what, like with our little accomplishments, all those things, they're very, all our little goals, they're all important. What, my diggity? I want a dilly bar. You guys can watch me eat a dilly bar. I'm gonna go get my dilly bar. I'll be right back. Cherry. Give me that, baby. Give it to me. Oh, hi, friend. I'm waiting to see for them to come on, but hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna go and see if she's texts me back.
Okay.
Well, because I was like, are you coming? What's going on?
There's no.
Okay. What should we talk about till they get on? Well, what if they don't come? We could talk about
So did you see the comments that I put on
uh-huh.
the beyond the
I think
behind?
that girl that commented, that's oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. She was a boy girl. I can't remember her name right now. She used to live in Unit 4 and she was always getting in trouble. She was the one that commented about the mental health. I
Yeah,
was gonna see if she wanted to come on.
you should check
Mm-hmm.
because she said that she was wanting to talk about the mental health and addiction and stuff, and I was like, well, okay, well, let's talk.
I think that that's something important too because if you don't if you don't take care of your mental health, like it could lead to like a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Like addiction. It can lead to, that's how a lot of people get into trouble because they just self medicate with drugs, and then before you know it, you're like doing shit that you shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the people who get locked up, a lot of their shit stems from mental health. And I think that that's something very important.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean like you have like a mental illness or anything. It could be anything. It could be like a loss of a relationship, a loss of a family member, like a loss to a death. it makes them get depressed and, and like you said, self-medicate.
Oh yeah. I think for a long time I think I didn't realize, well, because I was self-medicating with the pills, and I didn't realize that it was like depression from my ex-husband because we separated. And I feel like that was kind of like I was depressed, you know what I mean? But I never wanted to admit it to anybody. And I just went into like, you know what I mean?
Because you probably didn't want to see it that, because it was a loss of a relationship, you know what I mean, and it was somebody that treated you terrible, so you're like, how could I be missing that, and it's not even about the person, it's just about the loss that you experience.
Oh yeah. I even think like the other day I was all thinking like, well, cause like what led up to my crime, like, you know what I mean? I was like, he had gotten married, and I kind of think I lost my mind a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like now
Yeah.
looking back to that time, and I didn't ask nobody for help. I didn't, do you know what I mean? I was a single mom for 7 years. He was never even a parent to my kids, you know?
Right.
So that was a lot of pressure, not wanting to fail. You know what I mean? And then, like, sometimes I really, Ali, get out of there. Sometimes I think it was my way to ask for help because I didn't. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't ask for help because I didn't know how, but I needed help. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like and if you don't deal with those mental health like because they're like generational sometimes, they're in a family, they come from your parents, they come from certain insecurities. A lot of my things too come from my ex. He was very like anal with certain things, and I think that's why I'm a lot of OCD the way I am now too, because he was like that, you know what I mean? And certain things make you the way you are.
Yeah. And also, like, addiction doesn't just, like, when people think about addiction, they think about, like, oh, it's with
Like we're
people
just
that are,
shooting heroin all day. No,
well,
you know
not
what I
just
mean?
that, but they also think of the person as, oh, it's somebody that is homeless, or a cholo or chola, or somebody that's in and out of jail or prison.
Or
And
a
that's not
gang member,
true.
or you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And
Yeah.
that's not true, because I worked in a hospital. I used to be a pharmacist, and I worked at Presbyterian Hospital. And I remember when I worked there, there was doctors and nurses that were hooked on the medication. You know what I mean? They were hooked on all that stuff because they have easy access to getting patients narcotics and stuff. And there was actually a part where we had to put in a new AccuDose system into the hospital at Presbyterian, because nurses were getting caught taking the patients on narcotics.
Wow.
So there's addiction reaches anybody. It does not discriminate whatsoever. Like, I know doctors and lawyers and nurses that are hooked on drugs, and those pills, they lead to something else, and then to something else, because they can't get it.
Yeah. There
it,
was
it
plenty of times that my addiction almost crossed over to using heroin, but because I'm very strong-willed, I didn't want to, because I was already, like, oh, it's just a pill, trying to justify it that it's not a drug or whatever, you know what I mean? I didn't want to cross over to using the heroin, so I would just stay using the pills, and then finally I had to quit myself. I had quit before I had even got incarcerated because I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I don't want to live like this. Like, it's just a cycle of addiction, literally, is what it is. And you don't, at some point you have to like hit a bottom, and I had done that, but then a lot of like things get complicated when you're in that. I feel like things happen because you're in your addiction, right? You don't make the right decisions or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Or some people start an addiction because of their bad decisions. You know what I mean? Um, like for instance, like let's say I don't know, somebody got caught, they think, oh well, I just need to write these checks or whatever for to help support my family, and they're thinking that that's the best way to do it, and then all of a sudden they get caught, so they're starting to face charges. So what do? Because they can't live with the regret of the choices that they made in life, they start doing drugs to self medicate themselves to not feel that, you know.
To numb themselves. Yup.
Exactly.
Not be responsible for their actions. I've seen that happen a lot, you know, like even with parents, like certain people I know, like they would rather choose to do drugs and their kids are off living with their grandparents, or you know what I mean? And that's rough.
Yeah.
And then
Why do you think it's harder for some people to stop drugs than other people?
I really think it's like a mindset, you know what I mean? Because I
Come here,
feel like
Devon.
I feel like I struggle with it all the time, even though that I'm very strong and I know that I choose to. I don't go a lot of places because I don't put myself in those situations. Do you know what I mean? There's a certain you have to know, like I'm not gonna be all going out to the clubs or whatever because there's trouble over there. Do you know what I mean? Like I just stay home, do my job, go to school, do what I need to do because and do the gym because that's my life now. You know what I mean? Like I feel like some people are able to remove themselves and then some people just can't. I don't know. I often wonder because I have a few cousins who are like they're on drugs, you know, and one of my cousins is dying and I'm like, damn, that's so crazy. And he's younger than I am.
Yeah,
And I want to say it's like a cycle of addiction too because you live it, you know, with your he lived it with my uncle and they like he learned that, you know, and then I'm just glad his kids are a little bit. They're not that you know they've changed. They learned by watching him. But I feel like it's hard. You can never really say like, well, who because some people you think, oh no, they're never gonna get off drugs, and then look, a lot of people turn around and they change, you know, for different reasons. But then there's some that they never change and they're always the same, and they land up dying, you know.
yeah.
A lot of our people have died just off of that fentanyl, and it's very sad.
It's sad because like the drugs are getting worse and worse. Like I remember when I we had did the move, I had heard about that drug that makes your skin turn like alligator skin
Yeah.
and stuff. And back in the day, there was never that kind of stuff out there. You know what I mean? So
Mm-mm.
drugs are getting more potent, more dangerous. And people that have done a lot of time that have done drugs in the past, they think, oh, well, I used to do this much before. I could do it again. You know what I mean? Like I did it for all my life. And they don't realize that they did a lot of time. Their body's cleaned. So
Mhm.
when I mean, yeah, you have drugs in there, but it's not like it is out here. You know what I mean? It's not a constant daily where you can find it just down the street, and they come out and they try these new drugs and boom, it kills them instantly because it's a different type of drug. It's a different strength of a drug. There's just so many things in one drug.
Yep. And then they've been in prison or jail so for a long time. Their system is really clean. You know, I think that people they're all trying to go all hard, you know, and then they land up dying because a lot of people OD when they come out just because of that.
Right, right.
That
So do you
fentanyl is
think
like something so crazy right now. I don't understand it. I'm like, that's crazy. I don't understand how people are like, well, because they say even when they shoot it up, like the medical people, they don't even want to fuck with them because they're getting like they they have to almost amputate their arms because it's like acid in their skin. Like they're injecting that shit and it gets the abscesses. They don't get like regular abscesses. They get like because it's poison. You know what I mean? They're literally like poisoning their bones and their skin, and eventually they have to get amputated, dude.
Yeah.
Like
So
if
do
they
you
start
think,
getting lots of abscesses and stuff like that, they lose their limbs. And I'm like, dude, like that's so crazy. Like who even wants to fuck around and do drugs if you're gonna lose your arms or your limbs, or like that wouldn't that make people be like, what is this? Or do you know what I mean?
yeah, you would think, but I guess in some cases people are different. Like there's some that are more strong-willed and strong-minded than other people, and then there's just some that just have an addicted personality, period. You
Right.
know what I mean? If it's not drugs, people get addicted to working, or they get addicted to working out too much, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Or eating too much. I mean, that's another addiction in itself, overeating, becoming too obese, and you could die from stuff like that, like eat too much cholesterol, too much, fat around your heart, so like, so okay, so a person could be strong-willed and can say, I don't want to, that's it, I'm done, and stay away from the drugs. So do you think mental illness has an effect on a person's addiction? And have you ever heard of somebody that has a mental issue that's not addicted?
But I don't know. I think mental illness has a lot to play with, like a critical role in that addiction, because people, that chemical imbalance that you have, being a mental illness isn't like all the time people think it's like something really bad or whatever. Sometimes it's a chemical imbalance in your brain, and you can't fix that. Like that's why people sometimes use the drug, because they have that imbalance and they're looking for it. Do you know what I mean? They're looking for that balance, and they self-medicate because they're looking for it, but they're never quite able to get that balance, because you can't get it like that. You know what I mean? Like I myself, I work out a lot. That's why I work out a lot, because I need it. If I don't do, at least I used to do like obsessive a little bit. I was like probably doing like 5 days a week sometimes, and then now I only do like 2 days a week, maybe two, maybe sometimes 3 hours. Well, because sometimes I'm coaching or sometimes I'm doing different things, but I have to exercise at least a whole hour for myself. And then if I'm doing other things or lifting or doing dead weights or whatever, other than that, but it becomes obsessive. It does, and if I don't do it, I start feeling tired. Like I'm like, my life is so worthless, or like I start feeling the depression sinking in, and then I have to say, nah, I already know, because of myself and how I am. I know what it is, so I have to get myself to work out, and then those chemicals that I need in my brain, right away I start feeling a lot better. So I
No,
really
Gina.
feel like has to do a lot with the mental illness, and it might be like some chemical imbalance that people need, that they need. But
Well, when you work out, a lot of times is that feel good in endorphins are released in your brain, and that's what's lacking is the in your limbic system. It doesn't quite get the right endorphins to go in and out. You know what I mean? The
yeah,
sensory's gone and stuff. So when you work out, you're releasing those feel good feelings. And that's why sometimes it's important. It's kind of like an antidepressant, a natural antidepressant.
I think it is. I think, well, for myself, because I really like literally feel it. Sometimes when I don't go work out, I'm like, so I just want to sleep. I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired, because I don't have that energy that I normally do have, that you need. Like your body sometimes needs it. You know what I mean? And I've been working out for a long time, since I was in prison. So when I don't have that normal, I feel like it's kind of like a normal routine for me already. And when I don't have it, I start feeling like a little bit crazy. Like
Mm,
honestly, I do, and I know that about myself. You know.
yeah. So what kind of advice would you offer to somebody that is in an active addiction or is thinking about doing drugs, or even just the inmate that's coming out of jail or prison?
I would tell them to, like, if they're in a active addiction, to seek help, because they're gonna die if they stay doing drugs. They're gonna die. They're either gonna land up in jail or prison, or they're gonna die. There's only two roads. Like, you've never seen an old, like, have you ever, like, there's never like this old drug dealer, like, you know what I mean, they die. The road, and it's a fact, you know what I mean. And I feel like anybody can change their life. It doesn't matter how bad it is, how bad your life is. You know, if you're homeless, I seen the other day, in fact, this guy, he lost his both jobs during the pandemic, and he was homeless, and he went to this school to better himself, and he was living in a tent. And I was like, dang, like, people, sometimes people, you just have to have like the perseverance to say, like, I want a better life. And I feel like everybody can do that, and you can achieve that if you at least put a little bit of effort, you know. And I feel a lot of people, especially people coming out of prison, people, we have like a lot of strikes against us. People look at us like we're just trash, and they don't want us anywhere near their children or on their grounds or in their parking lots. And I when people talk about stuff like that, it really offends me, because that's me. I'm a felon. That's me. You're talking about me. You know what I mean? And I feel like with my program Wings, that's why I'm always like cutting really hard for my program, because I am that community. I am the person that came out of the prison. I am the person that is at Wings. Like, that's me, you know. And people don't understand it sometimes, that it's a hard road. And I just want to encourage people to know that even if they don't have anybody, they have us, and that's why we're there for them. Like, this platform for us to be able to, and it doesn't matter whatever it is, even if it is addiction, or if they need resources, or they want us to, you know, maybe we could like send them to somewhere and be like, here's help. But we will talk to them, and we will never turn anyone away, because that was us at one time, you know. And I feel very strongly about that, because people judge us very harshly, and they need to walk like maybe half a mile in our shoes and see that we're just like normal human beings like everybody else.
Right. I agree with you. Because a lot of people have a stereotype of what a prisoner is or what they look like, you know, and they don't realize that it could be your neighbor.
Your sister, your mom, your daughter. Like, you don't know what the world brings. You don't know what could happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? One of your family members could fall in jail, and it could be one of them. Wouldn't you want them to not be treated unfairly? Like, it just really broke my heart when Wendy was talking about the way that they treated Victoria Martin's mom. And, like, I know that her crime was horrible, and I do not condone it in any way, but she's a human being, and she deserved the same treatment that we deserve to shower. So did she. She deserved to eat food just like we did. And she was denied those privileges. Like, it really breaks my heart, because if we would have never even started, we would not even know any of that. You know what I mean? I feel like we've learned a lot since this podcast has started. Even, you know, Angela was talking about the stuff that used to happen over there in CCA, and, you know, just like there's a lot of stuff that has come about that we wouldn't have found out if we had never started this podcast. So I think that it's important that we keep sharing our stories and our testimonies, and letting people know that they have, you know, that it's important. Like, everybody's story is important.
Yeah, it is. And I think also another thing that we should do in this podcast is like give shout outs to people that have done a lot of time and are out here making a difference, or out there outreaching, Like I just saw on TikTok, Angela Teo. I don't know if you remember her.
Oh, wow.
She's out there doing street ministry. She's out there help feeding the homeless and stuff. I seen her doing an outreach out here in Albuquerque and asking for donations. She has like a, what do you call it, an Amazon wish list, like of food and clothing and stuff that they need to be able to pass out and stuff. So that's like really cool to
That is.
hear. And like Brat, Renee, she's doing awesome with her outreach with making what do they call them, the housing for the women that are coming out. What is it called?
She just got another. She had one halfway house, and now they just got
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah, like, like big shout out to her and to whoever is, going through her program and stuff like that. That's awesome. You know what I mean? To see women like that out there making a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Showing that, yeah, we could come from the streets and from the bottom of the barrel and look at where they're at now. Look at how they're helping other women, or out there just helping people rather than just tearing them down or going this back and forth. You know what I mean? We're trying to give people a way to live a productive life out here, because sometimes there are those people that come out and they don't have nowhere to go to. You know what I mean? Like you said, you didn't have no family. There's some people that don't know the first thing about getting on their feet when they get out here. You know what I mean? So like, there's people out there like Brat and Angela that are out there, trying to provide the resources, you know what I mean? Help them get on their feet, show them that there's a better way out there. And that's just like awesome. I
Yeah.
think we should really put out some shout outs to those kind of people that are making a difference.
I think we should make something like maybe like a shout out of the week or something, and we could put like whatever female, like the one you said about the TikTok organize, like we could pick a different one every week, or do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we could start with like that one, and just be like, behind bars would like to give a huge shout out. This is something that we're going to be doing as a new process to be able to uplift our population and to let everybody know the great accomplishments that are happening. And we can put like a little highlight of what they're doing and like
Yeah.
link or drop, because I feel like that's important for us to support each other. You know what I mean?
And also to put out, like, if they need any donations or help, like hands on, like Brat sometimes
Yeah, like
goes on
people.
live
Yeah.
and says, I need help cleaning this yard for this house or this ranch. You know what I mean? Like, let's put it out there so that way, not everybody has the same friends and family on their Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is that whatever platform that they have. So like, the more people we could reach, the more help that we can get for these women that are making a difference out there. You know what I mean? Like, even like I've been watching, I don't know if you know Cassandra Noon, Bully. They call her Bully. She's
Isn't
in
she
it.
going into the prisons?
Yeah, she's in Arizona, somewhere in Arizona. I'm not too sure exactly where, but I know she's doing something positive out there, helping women that are addicted, going into the women's prisons out there. You know what I mean? Like, that's the big thing too. Like, and not only is she going in there and she's helping these people and she's telling them about it and trying to help them, but she's living an example. And sometimes the only example some people will ever know is your walk. You know what I mean? Your life. You know what I mean? So like, big shout out to them. There's just so many women that are doing good out there. And I think it's so important for us to uplift those type of women and encourage other women and encourage other women. Look, hey, if they can do it, we can do it. Y'all can do it too. You know what I mean? Like, let's help each other, you know? And yes, there is such a thing as a safe space. You know what I mean? Like our platform is about having a safe space and stuff, but also you have to be understand that along with the safe space, there are people there that you're going to always have a hater. You're going to always have somebody that's going to try to tear somebody down. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you have to put up with it or that you have to grow thick skin, but you have to expect that. Be ready for that, especially if you put something out there on the internet, a picture. I mean, my goodness, there could be a beautiful person that's putting out a picture or whatever, and somebody's just having a bad day and don't like the way you combed your hair that day and are going to talk smack about it. You know what I mean? Don't let it offend you. You know what I mean? And you just, I don't know, just know that whatever you're putting out there, you know, just expect all kinds of people saying all kinds of encouraging things. I'm not condoning what other people say that may be negative. I'm not condoning that whatsoever. But just beware, you know what I mean? Be ready for if somebody does say something negative. Don't let it hurt your feelings. Don't let it hurt your heart. Don't know that whatever somebody says is just their opinion. And everybody has opinions, you know what I mean? So that's like one thing that us as women have to understand, just like the stereotype of some people. Yeah, it hurts us that people have out here in the world, in society, have a stereotype. Oh, well, you've been to prison? Oh my God. Like,
Oh yeah.
what did you do? And you know what I mean? Like, you're doing good out here, you know? It's just their opinion, their stereotype of people. You know, you can't let it affect you. You know who you are, you know what you do, and you know what you're about. And that's all that matters. Whatever the relationship between you and God and your family, whatever, that's all that should matter, you know?
I think that would be really good. Like if we do a shout out like that, well, because everybody will support them. They'll be like, "Oh, look at what so and so's doing," or "Look at what it'll be." Well, because not only is this a good way for us to support each other, it's a platform for us to be able to highlight that. Where you know what I mean? We're gonna be like growing bigger than we are right now. We're just little, but I feel like if we have that able to support each other, that's something that we should be able to do. And this week we'll start. Who do you think we should start with first? Even
I'm not
though
too sure, but
Ashley,
we should reach out to some of these women that are doing good, and maybe, not necessarily just always have somebody to come on to tell their experiences in prison and stuff like that. But let's have people like Bully, like Brat, like Angela Teo come on and tell what their ministry is, tell people what they're doing, like ask for help, donations, like what do they need? What could us as a community out here help them to continue doing what they're doing and reaching out to people? You
do
know
you,
what I
do
mean?
you want to reach out to Brat? Well, because I think you probably know her better than I do, and ask her if she wants to come on. Well, because I feel like it would be good. And she posted the other day on her. She posted her little baby when they were at Springer, because the
Yeah,
first time she ever
no, it
seen her.
wasn't Springer, it was CCA.
Oh yes, you're right. It was, huh?
Yeah, it was back in the day when PB and J used to come to the prisons and bring your kids
Yes,
to
I
see
thought
you
that
and
was
stuff.
PCA because I remember the gym like that. That was our gym, huh?
No, that was actually the hallway.
It was.
Uh-huh. It was the hallway. It was right by master
I thought it.
control.
I thought it was. I thought it was right there, that stretch where they used to have the steps at. Do you remember?
No, it was right there by master control.
Oh, that was that long hallway, no?
Yeah. Yes.
I never got
And I know, and
the
that's
day they
another thing too,
stopped.
is that we have to make sure to look at the comments that are on there, because I think Renee was asking, like, how do we share? How do we put something on there? We have to be able to reply to those individuals, because they're trying to actually put stuff out there. You know what I mean? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I tried to do the little girls on a new thread, but I couldn't do it. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. So
Okay.
I'm gonna try to see if I could do it again. Well, because I feel like it's just there on that comment, and I want it to just be on one by itself.
Yeah, all you have to do is hit reply to them instead of putting it like all as a
Well,
generalization.
no,
All you
I
have
don't know how come she would have just been able to post a comment, but she replied to that one, so I went on that thread. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I didn't understand how come it was there, but yeah.
Yeah, and then another thing too is maybe we should also dedicate like a podcast to those that have passed away.
Oh, I
You know
feel
what I
like
mean?
I feel like that's very important too because there's a thought. I feel like
Yeah,
even they've shared a lot of pictures of just the girls, and even
yeah.
there, that would be like it would be neat to be able to just
Like
honor them,
to
like their
some,
memory, and just like even if we're just saying all their names or whatever. Yeah,
yeah, even if we're just saying their names and like one thing about them, you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like one thing that was positive about them, what they, how they were, their personality, like, oh, when she'd walk into the room, it was like a light would just enter the room, or she had a beautiful smile, or she was always laughing, you know what I mean? Like just something just for people to give a memory of them.
yeah,
I think that
yeah,
would be another cool thing to do.
yeah. I think
You drank it up.
that'll be good. And
Yeah, I told you.
Kira and Christina, I guess I don't know. I guess Jena didn't even come on. But
Yeah,
Kira,
Kira, Kira
somehow
did
she's good.
confirm. Kira confirmed as well as Christina confirmed for Monday at 7.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, well, that's good. Well, because I feel like Monday's podcast, it didn't like we didn't plan it, but it was so fire. All the stuff that Wendy talked about and like it was so unplanned. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like I always try to plan like, okay, let's talk about this or that. And it went totally in a direction that I didn't expect it to go, but it was so good. Do you know what I mean? Like, cause it was raw. Like it just happened. Like we didn't plan none of that. Like she wasn't even supposed to be on. You know, it was two other whole different guests and they fell through and she just came through for us. So I'm very grateful how that turned out because that's why I posted it because I feel like a lot of people, if they know the content that is in there, they will just watch it. You know what I mean? Because it
Yeah,
was that's something that that's like you talking to a news reporter or something. You know what I mean? Because Yazi, come on, nobody worked that close with Yazi. Wendy was probably one of the only people that worked very intimately with Yazi as an inmate. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And for her to open up and share those things, I was absolutely shocked because I didn't expect her to say anything like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was very surprising to me, but I was very satisfied with it.
That was cool that she came. She was there just listening, and then she just happened to come on. She agreed
Yeah,
to come
yeah,
on, and that's another cool thing. Just like an off the wall guest, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like no plan, just whoever shows up is talk about whatever,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I would like to do more, even if someone would have showed up tonight, to be like just like if you guys want to hop on. And I think some people don't kind of like know the concept, or do you know what I mean? I wish more people in the last okay, so last week we had 5 people. Okay, Monday we had 5 people, and last week we had 5 or 6 people too. So we're kind of like our panels are like we're kind of being steady about our viewers and what and who we're having on or whatever. But yeah, I wish more people would just get more involved. But I think people are kind of like they don't really know what to expect or whatever. So I just
Yeah,
want to put it out there too, that anybody, like even now, if anybody just wanted to hop on, they could, and they can say anything. We're not going to be like, no, no, you can't, because I feel like what everybody has to say is important, and that's
exactly.
why I want to make sure that everybody knows that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we're not just trying to be selective to a certain person or people or nobody. We would like everybody, anybody that is on our behind bars, I think we have 224 people now. 224, any of those people, if they would like to come on or say anything. I was excited about Jenna's husband, well, because he's a male. I'm excited to get a male. My friend was going home from the federal halfway house, and I had texted him to see if he wanted to come on again, but he hasn't texted me back. So I'm still looking for a male, because I want to do a male podcast. We haven't done that, and I think that it'll kind of change it up. Do you know what I mean? Because the men go through different things. They face different things than us, and it would be interesting to hear their perspective on the intake, on like their family, on like just different things that they go through. You know what I mean? Men go through different things than women do. We have to worry about our families and this and that. Men got to worry about like having to beat up other men or like it's just different. It's probably
yeah,
more violent. Yeah.
yep. It's more about politics in there.
Yeah. And your race, and your, like, if you're affiliated to a gang, or like, because I know the only reason I know a little bit of stuff like that, like the priest that I talked to a lot, he did those 32 years, and he talked about a lot about when they would send him to different prisons, the jefes of the prison would try to get them to organize things for them. Like first they would want them to like run different things, but they wanted it to do it their way. And OC's like, okay, I'll do it, but whatever I do is going to be for the men, and it's fair for everybody. So OC was there like organizing stuff and doing stuff for the jefes, but he was just like this little priest. And I just have so much admiration for him, because he talks about like all these things, how he ran the store at the Santa Fe prison. Well, because they had lost their store, they didn't have a store, and the warden came to him, and he ran a store. He ran a store for the prison, and then they sent him to another facility to start a store, and he started a geriatric unit. Like he did a lot of things in his time, and I just have a lot of respect for him, because the men's hierarchy and their politics is way different than ours. They're organized. We are not.
Yeah, yep.
That's
And
how
have
it is.
you gotten approved to go into the prison with the wings?
I put in my thing last week, and I'm still waiting. I'm just hoping, you know what I mean, because the backgrounds get run by the priest, by the pastor. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I'm
the
thinking I'll
pastor
get,
can make an exception for you.
yeah. But
Have you asked them when you get approved? Maybe it'd be pretty cool to ask them if you can not necessarily have the camera on, because of you can't really show who's in prison there without signing a consent.
mhm.
But maybe you can record it, the voice.
No, Wings takes pictures, friend. I can get
Yeah,
any pictures that they take. They did like a 2-minute video. When we go, I'm gonna try to see if we can get like the group, because I got Wendy. Wendy has put her email in to go. Ashley, the girl that was on our podcast last week, has put her email to go, and then I can't remember, somebody else reached out to me to send in their email, but I can't remember right at this moment. But there's like 4 of us applying to go, and let's see if we get in, because I think that it's important for us as returning citizens to let those females know that they can come out and they can do it just like we have done it. And it doesn't matter how long you've been down, what your crime is, whatever it is, you can come out and you can make it, and you can make a productive life if you are willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to put in the
right.
work. You know what I mean? It's not just going to become all out and it's all handed to you, because that is not a reality. I'm like, I lived in, like, I was homeless for a few months because I didn't have nowhere to go. But by the grace of God, God provided me a place to go, a place to have an apartment, a way to stay safe. Like I feel like God has always provided a way for me, and he'll provide a way for others too. And I feel like that's a big message. People got to have faith in like a higher power. I don't know, not everybody believes in God or whatever, you know what I mean? But you have to believe that there is someone out there bigger than you, and there is a plan. And I truly believe that, because if not, I wouldn't be sitting here today. There's many times that I could be dead, literally dead, you know what I mean, from my addiction. From I started dabbling in OCs. That's like synthetic heroin, you know what I mean? I could have OD'd. Like, there's just a lot of stuff that I could have died from, and God has kept me here. But I know that he has a plan, and he has a message for us, for all of us, and I feel very strongly about our mission with this podcast, that we're here to help all our people, all our sisters, all, to tell all their stories, to let everybody know, the things that happened to us in there, because those things that Yazi did, those things were not right. You know what I mean? And if we didn't have this podcast, Jules, like that shit would just totally be swept under the rug. And I'm not saying, oh, we're going to make this big old difference or whatever, but you know what? I feel like when enough people see this and enough people hear, and it makes it to the right ears, maybe we will make a change. Maybe they will make some different kind of laws about the protocol for COVID, or the changing the intake process, or whatever. I just feel like this is a strong mission that we have, to be able to support one another. And I'm grateful to you for, always being there to support us. And I'm just happy that we're growing. We're growing a lot. We had 107 the last time I looked at our thing. We had 107 views on our last podcast.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of views.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
that's a
cool.
hmm
That's
Well,
real good. Yes.
it says the last one we did, I think the one with Bubbles and Angela was the one before that, and it was like 47 or something like that. But that's high too. So everyone, I'm just happy, because I know that we're growing. We're not like it's like 30 views. We had 107 hits on our last one. So I think that on Monday, and if more people would get into what we were talking about with Wendy, I think more people will see it now, because that's why I posted, because I wanted to put a little snippet in there of what was in there, because it's literally like, it's like a little puzzle piece that you're finding, right? You're finding all these little puzzle pieces, and they make this big picture, and it's not painting a good picture of who Yazi was as an intake CO officer. And I just always knew that someday we would get the chance to be able to tell our stories, and I'm glad that it's like this, because I think people need to know what's going on. Like that girl, Cristina Portillo, that she elbowed her. I could just see Yazi elbowing one of us. It's because she was timid, I'm probably sure she was probably shaking or scared, and Yazi was trying to bully her.
Yeah.
Yazi knew who she could do that with. She knew who she could get away with.
Yeah.
Did you
But
hear
it
how?
wasn't just Yazi that was like that. It was also Miss Diaz, CO Diaz, that was also the same way. You know what I
Remember
mean?
her little crew of people? Well, she had like a little crew, but then they used to always say, because she liked butches. Don't you remember all her girls, all the girls that worked on Diaz's crew were the butch girls. Do you remember?
No, not all of them.
Who
Because
were the?
my friend Clarissa McGree was worked with Miss Diaz.
Oh, I don't remember her. I just remember like.
Yeah, so she wasn't butch girl. She was she was tall. She did the sign in dance too. I don't know if you remember her. She's black. She's young.
Mhm.
She used to live in A unit. She never really went. I don't think she ever went to G unit, but she was from A unit. She worked with Miss Diaz, so that's not true. That only Butch has worked with Miss Diaz.
She had her own little crew of people though that she kind of like. I feel like she not protected them, but she liked them. No, you know
Yeah,
what I
she
mean?
liked them.
Well,
But
because they were,
that's with anybody though. That's,
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
when
look, even
they,
Miss
yeah,
Emmanuel had her people that she trusted and enjoyed working with. And then Miss Howard had her people, you know.
yeah,
I mean, just like us as human beings, we have certain groups of people that we hang out with, you know what I mean? They also did the same thing, you know.
yeah. Miss Howard
But
had her Gigi and what was the other girl's name?
Sonia,
The one with the glasses.
Sonia Jojola,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
she was cool. They were cool. The
Yeah.
library people were always cool. You
Hmm.
always got along with the library people because if you went to SIG, they brought you good books. No, just kidding.
Miss Howard was always cool with me. I think it's respect gets respect. You know what I mean? But like Miss Yazi, no matter how much respect you give her, um, she just was, she was just miserable. You know what I mean? Miserable people just enjoy misery around them. You know what I mean? Like, but a lot of times it's respect begets respect, you know, and that just goes with anybody,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, so I like that we're making awareness to all of that. And I think us talking about addiction is good, and mental health, because those are two main things that can cause a lot of recidivism, going in and out. Also, like different resources that people can use out here. That's good. I think if you go to the wings, try to see if you can record it, you know what I mean, and be live. You know, that would be cool to watch, you
I
know.
think they said I can do a Zoom meeting. I just gotta set it up. The next time that I do, I'll do it and I'll send you the link because our East Mountains, a bunch of our other things they do for people who can't come to the meetings. They're able to like zoom in, you know what I mean? So kind of like they're there, which is a good thing because I feel like you can support us like that just by like watching the meeting or whatever. Well, because you guys can't be there, you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I'm gonna try to do a link for next week so that I
But
can have
always,
like
always when you post it, tag me too, because
okay,
then I could share it to all my people. Not only that, do I share it to my group of people that are my friends and family on my Facebook, but also I share it to other
okay,
groups in Albuquerque, groups in Dallas. You know what I mean? Like I share it among, even on my Instagram, and I try to share it sometimes on my TikTok.
okay.
So tag me so that way I could be able to share it across all those platforms.
Okay. And this week, let's do this. Well, this coming Monday, let's try to do behind bars in the 505 is doing a new shout out process to one of our sisters. And this week we will be, and who should it be?
That what? I'm sorry.
Who do you want to pick for to do the shout out first? Well, do you know what I mean? You can shout
Um,
out, Brat, if you want.
yeah, we could do that, or we
Well,
could,
because I feel like Brat's doing good. She's doing a lot of good things. I feel like you should reach out to her and see if she wants to come on. Only because not only would it help her program too to be able to say like if they need volunteers, if they need resources, if they need anything, whatever it is that they need, okay? And we're able to tell them to be like, okay, this is our our sister program and she's doing this and we're so proud of her and she could talk about her program. She doesn't necessarily have to talk about her experiences unless she wants to. If she would like to, then that's a whole nother issue. But we would like to be not like respectful of her, like she's running a program now and we would like her to talk about her program, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So if you want to reach out to her, that's cool and see what she says. Yeah.
yeah. I'll see what I could do. I'll reach out to her and probably a couple of other people just to see and stuff, and then I'll get back with you on that.
Yeah, so that way we'll, because we have someone for Monday, but then hopefully so we can get someone for Thursday too, and hopefully be able to like, because I kind of don't want to book. I would like to keep 2 weeks booked, but I don't want to go any farther than that because I feel like that's too much to ask people to be like, oh yeah, remember in 4 weeks you're gonna come on our podcast, or do you know what I mean? So we'll just kind of keep it to 2 weeks, and hopefully people just keep rolling in, because I just asked Kara, and Kara was more than willing. She's like, of course, I got your back, I support you guys no matter what. And I was like, that's awesome, because that's what we're looking for. That's really what we're trying to do is we're trying to like make a movement of prison sisters.
I think that's awesome. Okay, Rhiannon, you
Okay,
have a
friend,
wonderful
thank you
night.
so much. You too. We'll talk to you later. Bye, friend. I love you. Tell the
All
girls
right.
good night.
I sure will. Bye.
Bye.